Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So I'm in here just playing around with some of my craft stuff, and I found this other little cross. I knew I had two of them, and in one of my earlier DIYs for spring, I showed you how I use vintage jewelry to make like a beaded garland using this little cross. Well, I'm going to be using some beads that I got off of Amazon. I got this big pack of beads. It's all different sizes. And so I picked me out 3 different sizes, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to make me another like beaded garland with the wooden beads for this one. And then I found all these cross cutouts that James actually used this as a template to make me. So I've got a couple of ideas how I'm going to use some of these like for Easter, and we'll be working on that. And then I also have this cute little chalkboard that my sister-in-law gave me. She bought this, she picked it up from a thrift store, and she actually gave me 2 of them. This is what they look like in the pack, and this is the one that I already have out. And I have went ahead and used my antique waxing glaze from Waverly and kind of stained the border, and I'm going to be doing something with this for Easter as well. So a couple DIYs coming at you today. Hope you're excited. So if you are, just keep on watching. So what I've done is I have laid me out 3 different sizes of the little beads. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these stems, and I just put my beads on these. And I'm just going to kind of use a little paintbrush, and I will stain it with my antique with this. This is what I'm going to use. So let me get these.
Oh, stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight.
And it's about to get messy, y'all. But what I do, I'm just going to kind of lay me a paper towel down here, and I'll show you why. Take one of these and lay it on here, and just going to go to town on it, trying to get it covered.
Midnight, such a wonderful delight. Forgo.
So I'm going to keep working on these, and then when I get them done, I'll be right back. Okay, so now that all of my little beads are dry, I'm going to start stringing them, and we're going to use this, and I'm going to attempt another tassel. I did watch a video, and she showed an easy way to do one, so I'm going to attempt a new tassel. So I'm just going to use my jute twine, and I'm just going to pull off some. And I'm gonna double it up because the video that I saw, she left a loop at the end, and that's how she did her tassel. So I'm just gonna double my strands up, and I am gonna use a bit of painter's tape just to kind of make it where it'll be a little easier to go through my beads. So for that, I'm just gonna tear off just a little piece of painter's tape, wrap it around those ends, and just kind of make like a needle. Just rip that off. Make like a needle, and then it should go through our beads fairly easy. So let me get my beads set up into different size groups. I did 9 of each. I'm not really sure how I'm going to put them on the garland, but we will see. Buster. No. You investigating? You investigating? Some stuff for my daughter. He's over there digging in. She's going to come get that today. Okay. So, remember we're going to leave a loop at the end. So, I think I'm going to do a large, a medium, a small, I think I'm just going to do large, medium, small all the way down. It's not very exciting, is it? But if you can see, putting that tape on there has definitely made it much easier to go through. So I'm going to leave like that for the end, because that's where our tassel, that's what we're going to use to go put our tassel through. So let me get these strung real quick. Now I did have to redo my other little one I used the vintage jewels on because I did not do it correctly. And I used the old necklace string that the beads come on, and it actually ended up breaking on me. So I had to redo it, and I did redo it with wood beads because I didn't have thin enough string that would go through the jewelry beads. And I tried to pull this apart and I couldn't, it wouldn't do. So I did redo it with with the wood beads. And now what I'm gonna do, I've got it looped through here. So I'm gonna take my end and I'm gonna go through this loop to kind of do it like that. And then I'm gonna go through it again. And then I'm gonna tie a knot. And now that's how that is secured. And now we have our end for our tassel. But first I'm gonna cut these off. But I'm gonna save these because we'll use them for our tassels. Get your jute twine. And she wrapped hers around her hand about 30 times. Okay, about 30 times. And then she cut it. And then she took it off of her hand. She pulled it down and she cut this. Like that. And now you have all of these pieces. And now you're going to stick this through your loop that you saved out. So now we have it through our loop like this. And so now we're going to take a piece of this that was left over. And you tie it around several times. And then you're just going to knot it off. So. And then you're going to cut these pieces off. And we have a tassel. And then what she did was she come up here and she give her tassels a haircut. Okay, so now I've got to, because obviously this wasn't all the way to the end, I'm gonna go back and reconfigure this. And there we have this cute little spring, wooden bead garland. So that's that one. So on to the next one. I definitely recommend you going over to a little bit of Common Crazy and watching Jennifer's video on, I think she's doing like some thrifted. I'll try to find the video and link it down below, because it's not a video on how to make tassels, but in that particular video she shows you how to make a tassel and using the technique that I just used, and hers is much prettier and she does a great job. So I will try to remember to link that video down below, but if I forget, which is a possibility, Jennifer at A Little Bit of Common Crazy. Okay, for our next DIY, I'm going to show you another cute little way to use a cross wooden cutout. And I'm starting to cut this out. But I went online and I found a link for free like Easter hymnal printouts. And so I printed it out. And now I'm just going to kind of cut around the edges of it. And we are going to use this on our little cross. So it doesn't have to be perfectly straight when you cut it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out. We're going to need our Mod Podge. You can use Mod Podge or you can use clear Elmer's glue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Mod Podge over our cross. This to the side. Want a generous amount of Mod Podge. This is literally scrap wood he had out in the garage that he just cut out for me. So if you have any old scrap wood laying around. And now I'm going to take the hymnal, I Know My Redeemer Lives. And I'm just going to kind of put that over on that. And now I'm just going to kind of go over it with the Mod Podge. Oh no. I'm changing colors, but that's okay. And it's okay if it's going to have some wrinkles in it, and it's okay that it's changing colors because we're going to be doing a little technique to this anyway. So that's okay. So now that you've got that like that, we're just going to kind of let this dry, and then we'll come back and address that. So I'm going to go wash my brush out. Okay, so I have one of these little wooden squares. You can get them in a pack of 4 from Hobby Lobby. I actually just found, I didn't even know I had these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly sand this. I'm going to lightly sand this, just kind of get any rough edges off. 3 guesses what I'm fixing to make. Y'all, if y'all know me, you know I love making cute little coasters. So, I have another printable. I didn't go wash out my brush because I realized I was going to be doing another one. I have another free printable. I have 2 more actually. I have Christ a Rose. And then I have the smaller one of I Know My Redeemer Lives. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use Christ a Rose. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to kind of lay it down. I really want that on there. I want Christ a Rose on there. And I'm just going to kind of go around it with my finger and get the outline of it, of where I need to cut. I mean, roughly. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to just stress it anyway. And now I'm just going to kind of go in there where I can see my outline and get some of this excess paper off. So now I'm going to take my Mod Podge again. Generous amount. We're going to lay our little cutout on it. And it's not perfect, but that's okay. Now we have that on there, so we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so now that this is dry, I'm going to take this fingernail file and I'm just going to go around the edges and get any excess paper, Mod Podge. I'm just going to file it off, and I'm also going to use this. It's a rough grit nail file. This is a nail file you would use if you had acrylic nails. So I'm going to also use my file, and I'm just going to rough up on the top of it, make it look old and distressed. Just kind of dig my file in there and get all, kind of get it roughed up around the edges, peeled up, and it's going to make it look really good when we do the distress technique to it. And I love this technique. So now that we've done all that, I'm going to take my antique Waverly antique wax glaze. Oh, that's a tongue twister. And I use my paper towel, and I just kind of start with the bottom, and then I'm just going to cover it really well with my glaze and kind of get it all in there. And on the sides, I was thinking I was going to do something else, but I didn't. I'm just covering it all, just making sure everything's covered, and I will take it onto the top of it as well and get that all good and covered. I love the way this piece turned out. I actually think I would like it better as a little sign instead of a coaster, but whatever. I mean, there's options to it, so that's a good thing. You can even make it a little riser. That would be cute too. But I'm just going to make sure it's covered really well, and I'm going to let that dry. I'm showing you that you could put these little feet on there as little risers, set it up as a little sign, put it in a little stand. So now I'm taking and I'm going to cut out the excess paper around this cross, getting it as close as I can with my scissors. And I'm going to use the same technique with the fingernail file, and I'm just going to go around the edges and get all that excess paper off and smooth it out. And I really like this technique. And I'm just smoothing all the paper off, and I'm also going to use it to distress the little cross, just like I did the other item. I don't know, I guess I'm just going to call it a coaster. And I'm going to distress that in the middle of it with my fingernail file and get it just like I want. And because this was not really sanded down, I'm just, when I get through doing this, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to sand it with my fine grit sandpaper just to smooth it all out. If there's any splinters or whatever, I'm just going to smooth it out. I'm also going to go over the front of it with my sandpaper just to get anything that might have been rough, coarse. Get it all smoothed out. And I really like this. I might do this again. Again, going over it with my glaze. And I love this glaze, y'all. It just makes things look so distressed and old, and I love it. And then when I get through doing all this, then I'm going to take it outside, both items, and I'm going to seal it with my Krylon lacquer spray. And I think it's going to be so cute. Oh, but before I do that, I'm going to go back. See how it was like dark in certain areas, and you can see where I got the Mod Podge on it and the glaze didn't go. I just went over it with my file and my sandpaper, just lighten some of it up, distress the edges, and I love it. Okay, for my little chalkboard, what I want to do is I cut out a design on my Cameo, and it says 1 cross plus 3 nails equals 4 given. And since this is a little chalkboard, I thought I would do it. I did it in white, and I thought I would put it on there, and it would look like it, we wrote it in chalk. Genius, right? I know, I'm so brilliant. So that's what I decided to do. So let me make sure all this comes off. Okay. That's what it looks like. Get a better idea of that. So now the trick is to get it on here evenly. Very simple, very cute. If you do not have a Cameo, you could actually just get one of those white paint markers and put it on here. And I just think this is so cute and perfect for Easter. enjoyed these little DIYs. They were very fun, very simple, easy to do. I enjoyed doing it. This is kind of my happy place, and it's a beautiful day. Got my window open, and I just felt like getting in here and doing some crafting, and I had those items on hand. So if you like them, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you hit that little red subscribe button. And also, if you have Instagram, come connect with me over there on Instagram as well. And until next time, bye y'all.